We're here. I got
it. You know what you're doing, pushing them buttons?
Like this? No, not really. We're here on live. We are here on live Faz Radio today.
Absolutely. Happy Friday, everyone.
Just without drinking anything here. I can turn the light on in front of me or turn it off. Turn the light on above me. See, that's above me. That's in front of me. That's both.
You're supposed to be playing with your lights in the green room, man.
I was. So we got some interesting stuff today, right? Right?
We do. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Oh, the announcement has not gone off, but that's okay. We have one person's already in.
Oh, yeah, we did forget to do that. You kicked me out of the green room before I approved the announcement.
Yeah, we got to approve the announcement. That's okay. We can broadcast for a while. The people that are on right now are the subscribers who get a little bell ring whenever Faz Radio starts. So
735.
735. These are the true people, the people that care.
I'll tell you. Last night's show, Faz, easily of the 109 shows that we've done over the last 2 years, easily in my top 5 for best shows. That was an epic show last night.
That is good.
We not only had Nate with us, who always brings a hell of a great conversation. Betty, who was playing that grit like there was no tomorrow. He got his ass handed to him a bunch of times, but that was excellent for in the background while we were talking. And Anthony at the end, amazing, right? Instantly, I can't stop saying it. Instantly, everything he's talked about in the Discord now for the past 2-3 months that was like halfway over my head, it instantly made sense when he explained it the way he did last night. And that brought me to a whole new level with these nodes. Yeah. I feel amazing today. It was stressful. I'm serious. I wasn't playing around yesterday. I am very weak on what these nodes are, what they do, how they operate. And he brought me from like level 10 of 100 probably to 60 of 100 just by backfilling what I've been reading.
Well, the question is, are you trying to suggest maybe that we have Mr. Anthony on the show?
Oh, absolutely. If he'll grace us with an hour or so of his time, I absolutely want to get him booked on Faz Radio.
We should.
That would be a heck of a conversation. And I know there's a ton of community members who would love to be there listening to that as well.
So we can.
He is a huge resource. I don't understand, sometimes where people don't recognize people of Anthony's capabilities and qualities. He is a huge resource for this community. Thank you, Anthony, for being here.
Speaking of that, because he's talking about nodes, a retired astronaut has contacted me again. I've been working to get him on the show, or rather, he's been working to get on the show. He's still interested in being on the show. Oh,
good.
You have something to approve here, an announcement.
Where? Oh, private chat. There we go. Live talk Web 1, Web 2, Web 3.
Yeah, we normally do this in the green room, but we forgot the announcement today. So
yeah, we're getting later and later, guys, and we apologize. We're supposed to go on around 8, and every week we end up like later
Eastern.
And later.
That's 8 Eastern, right?
I keep forgetting time zones, yeah. I know. Quickly now. Yes, let's do this. Let's go talk. And what? So why don't you introduce so they're not sitting there looking at dead air?
I know, because I'm used to being in the green room. This is what we're doing. Okay.
Why don't you get us started about the big topic about why community sucks?
About why community sucks. So, well, I think your question was, what is the role of a crypto community?
Yes,
And
and that's the clickbaity title. Community sucks. So I think community sucks because
you asked me
uh,
to start, and now you're starting in on it.
well, I was going to get you started because
Oh,
we
okay.
talked about it, and then you keep saying, "Oh, well, we were in the green room." So here's why community sucks. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So if you're in a project, whether it's a gaming company, your favorite coin or token, an NFT drop, I know we did Eternal Clays. We love Eternal Clays, right? So what is it about that? What is the role of the community for those projects? What should they be doing? What shouldn't they be doing? What is their role in how that project develops? That I really wanted to talk
so,
about that.
so here's the problem. This is why community sucks, because crypto projects, when they first started out, you had a lot of rug pulls. You had a lot of rugs, um, but there were probably some good ones out there. And really, the communities were just to hype the coin. Any new coin or NFT project that would come out, they would have somebody hyping it. And the Discord was a great way to get you want to hype a project. You're going to do best among its loyal followers. So if you get a community over there and you just whip up the community, they'll buy more and more. And that's basically how I think it started, which is just the whole like what do you call that, pyramid scheme kind of thing where you're hyping people up. Um, I think after a while, people realized, hey, community can help out with the project. We're doing this for you, and they have this whole customer service aspect. But I think that that's not exactly what caught on for a while. But now that we have another bear market, it's kind of not, or it's kind of waning. And now people are all getting pissed off, like, hey, you promised like the land of milk and honey, and we got is dog shit.
You know what? I think you kind of sum that up perfectly by saying it that way. So you've talked about this before where you've said, the community demands things and they should not be demanding things. Almost like you're saying they should be grateful for whatever they
Well,
get.
I don't think I didn't say that they shouldn't be demanding things. There's a context with every project. Now, I think you're trying to talk about in the context of Gala Games. Gala
Well, it
Games.
really any you can use Gala, but I was talking about like any of them. So when you join, what are you supposed to be doing in there? I mean, people just talk to other people. Is it to suggest things? Is it?
Well, so again, that's going to depend on the project. However, I would assume that the goal is for people to get on Discord, learn about the project, learn about what NFTs they can buy, find out how they can give to the project. I think that's kind of, whenever I've gone to it, it's like, where do I find like the links to go buy the things? Or how can I find out more to see how the company is set up and stuff like that? That's what I do. But when you see people talking over there, they're just naming all these happy attributes about the NFTs or project they like. Oh, I really like this game when you do this, and it's just okay.
Do you
I
think that they have a right to have a say in what the company does?
Okay. So do you notice how I don't even go there because
That's
when
where I'm
you
pushing you.
okay, the reason I'm not going there, the reason I'm not going there is because I really see a Discord at best as an enthusiast group, like a Commodore 64 enthusiast group. Hey, this is where you can find some games. Here, look, I made a game here. Look, here's some links online, blah, blah, blah. They're a bunch of enthusiasts. Yay. But can these enthusiast groups actually get the Commodore to make a new computer? No. I mean Commodore. Now, of course, that's a really old one, but let's just use something new, like I don't know, Raspberry Pi. I haven't been on their Discord if they have one, but I bet they would. Now, it would seem to me that Raspberry, if they were smart, would look at what their group wanted and try to pander to the group, like, oh, we're going to put out a feature because you guys have asked for it, or give us your 2 cents. I think that's different for every company that does that. And a lot of companies do that, and they never exactly listen to their communities. So now when we get into crypto projects, remember these communities started out as hype squads. All of a sudden,
Right.
these hype squads want to have some legitimacy, kind of like, you know, the Monkees in the 1960s. They came out as a TV show, and after a while, they kind of wanted to be their own band, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
ever legitimized them. And poor guys, because they had pretty good music, but whatever. So the crypto community, all these hype discords are trying to legitimize themselves by saying, no, we're an actual community now. We can actually help vote and whatever. And in the case of Gala Games is whipping them up by saying, yeah, you can choose, you can do this. We want to include you in. And so it's like, great, how are we going to be included in? And they go, hold on. And then, they go, wait a minute. Okay, we have a vote this month. We have a vote this month. And maybe the next month they have a vote, but then, everybody has their opinions. And then they're like, what? We're including you in, right? What do you want? So I can understand from Gala Games' point of view when they get a little bit kind of wondering why people are really demanding a lot of close involvement, because I don't see, other products out there that give me such a close involvement. But the hype-tastic crypto community says, I spent $10,000 on your stuff. I deserve more than that. I think that's in the process of hashing out at the moment. I don't think it's still kind of up in the air whether whether a crypto community can actually have influence over a project. That's my long-winded answer.
Well, I mean, you have these communities, and I know my Discord is full of. I've got probably 30 projects on Discord, smattered all along, my channel list window, my server list window, and they're all a little bit unique. But the goal of all of them seems to be that engagement and that sense of closeness that you can have. And that is one thing. And you've brought this up to me before, and I maybe didn't acknowledge it as much as I do, or I should say, especially with Gala. Um, it is unusual from what I'm seeing as to how much they do engage with the community. A lot of these other discords, if anybody's there, it's just mods and community members who maybe have the seniority side of it, where you have executives on a daily basis interacting with people on a very regular basis. They know people by name, they know them by personality. It is a very, very close relationship on the Gala side. And I think that kind of fuels what we'll talk about later with the idea of too much passion, perhaps, and the pros and cons of that. I do think, though, that community needs to understand that they are, I guess, privileged in a sense to be able to have that sense of closeness that they wouldn't have with Epic Games or Sega or Xbox people, the game creators or the platform creators. It's a whole different world, absolutely.
So the crypto the crypto community, I think, or crypto in general, is which one is it? Is it me or him? Okay, thank you.
I think we're all three moving it at the same time.
So I think crypto in general is trying to legitimize itself as a real asset type, real digital asset type. I mean, you have an asset type, which means you have like real estate, you have bonds, you have stocks, you have currency. And crypto, I think, really wants to make itself its own asset type, which is, not any of those things. That way you can have the asset, because they're called digital assets. You can have the asset angles of like real estate and securities, but not some other, but they're also kind of currencies too. So I think this area is still sussing itself out, and we don't know what it's going to be. The problem is we're not going to know what it's going to be until government authorities actually embrace crypto, and they're not going to embrace crypto, unfortunately, until crypto distinguishes itself. So there's a catch-22. I don't know how long it's going to take for crypto to get where it needs to be, and of course, community becomes part of that. If crypto becomes something really specific and well defined, and Titan's gone. There he is. If crypto becomes,
I was just getting my water.
If it becomes something specific and well defined, then a community is going to be easier to coalesce and easier to define. At the moment, I think the communities are still a bit degens. They're all degens just wanting to pump a coin. And you got some good people in there that would like to play the NFT games or collect the NFT art or collect the coin, but there's still a lot of degens in there.
I don't think that's a bad thing. What I do think is that also leads to some of the butthurt that we've seen in some of these communities where people are feeling as though, and again, perception's everything, they're feeling as though that these companies are taking advantage of that closeness and that ability in order to whip them up into a frenzy and FOMO sell them things, whether it be NFT Bored Apes or whether it's whatever product they have. And I'm not sure where that line is and how clear that is, and if that's the right thing to do. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that I've seen out there that's nefarious for that. I mean, they're not trying to elicit problems with FOMO selling and taking advantage of the relationship with the community. I think if nothing else, the only negative part of that would be they're making that promise that the community will be involved, and the level of involvement is actually close to zero. The level of listening is pretty high, but the level of involvement is pretty low.
Yeah. Okay. So great. Ask the community what the hell it wants to be. I think the communities
that was part of this.
Okay.
I was hoping, hey Zorro, I was hoping to get more comments. I think our announcement just went out, which is why we've been pretty quiet in the chat.
I think the communities are trying to say that they want to be extremely involved with projects, and that's kind of there's a lot of regular gaming. Well, let me back up and talk about Gala Games again. I think Gala Games community wants to be a lot like the best gamer game communities out there. You know, I'm sure, you know, Team Fortress probably has a community that and stuff like that. But there's Gala Games did kind of talk people into thinking that they'd have a lot closer role than they wound up having with the game. I think people feel some ownership over the crypto NFTs that they purchased. I mean, ownership in the company even. Like, hey, you wouldn't be successful without us.
That is a really good point.
That's a bit of a problem because if you're going to make NFTs properly, they can't be dependent on one entity controlling them.
Well, the big deadpan giveaway, I mean, it's really, really easy to spot. You know how that is? You go in Discord and they make a comment and they say, we are going to do this together. This is what we are going to do this first quarter. And the word we, I see it constantly. And that right there is the dead giveaway that maybe they're a little bit too deep into that ownership and they have power when they really don't. That I noticed that a while ago, but it brought to my attention just last week. I flipped through the Gala Gold channel. I don't do that often, but I kind of flipped through it. And every single sentence was we this and we that. We're going to go here. We're going to take this to the next level with that. And these are just ordinary gold members, right? They've been given the illusion that they're in that together with them. While they're in that together with them in the spirit of what they want to see, they're not in it together from the business sense. And it's hard to draw that line, I think, sometimes.
You see that with a lot of online games too, though. And I like to use Star Citizen, because Star Citizen is all about you're going to help us out and we this and we that. And it turns out to, well, we just let you know what we're doing. And, you got to choose the color of the spaceman that we made and stuff like that. We got a yellow spacesuit because the community really wanted one. They got together and they were able to lobby us and get something proper. But we have 12 other spacesuits that we want too. So the gaming companies definitely let you know who's in charge. But with crypto, people seem to think that they are in charge. And let's make this clear that you're not. Okay, if you have an NFT from a project, you have an NFT. You don't have a stock in the company. I know people act as if they do, which means they're demanding that their crypto, their NFT is a security. Okay, if you want it to be a security, then you need to follow all the security rules, which means you need to put, give them your name, address, and phone number, and let them know when and where you bought it. And there's certain rules about KYC that's in there. So that's a problem. People want their cake and they want to eat it too. They don't want to be it to be a security, but they want security-like aspects of these projects. Really, what they are, in my opinion, is when you have a bunch of people buying NFTs for a game, they're like the audience of they're like the fans of an ice cream shop. If it wasn't for us, you guys would be out of business. Yeah, you're right. So tell me what store doesn't have a group like that says if it wasn't for us.
Well, and that goes back to discussions that we've had in the past as well about the cost of said NFT. So if people are buying $8 NFTs for games, their sense of the quote ownership of that company is way different when people went out and buy $70,000 NFTs.
Well, that's a good point. So the reason that they sell $70,000 NFTs is because they have this concept where you can rent them out and make money with them, because they're trying to show you're buying an asset, kind of like you might be buying a house and be able to rent that out. So here's the thing:
that's when security, though.
I know, but if you were to buy exactly, that's what I'm getting at. So if you were to buy a house, though, from a house company. If you were to buy 2 houses from a house company, would you feel like you owned that company or owned a part of that company? Oh my God, no. No, you don't. I answered that one for you.
It's way different than a house, though. The way that this works, and we should probably dovetail it. I shouldn't have separated it in the description, but this goes right into the community feeling way too invested and getting way too passionate with that project, right? So I think that level that people have is absolutely directly correlated to the dollar amount they've put in. And there are people on these platforms that have put in $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 and have come
already?
out. No, I told you that ice cream, man, that it gives my stomach a mess. So they go into that with $7-8 million on the back end when a project pops like that. I mean, I think it was $250 you could buy a Bored Ape for when they first came out. And some of these people sold them for $2, $3, $4 million. Some of these people spent $1,000 on 4 apes, and they're into 7-8 figures.
What's funny about Bored Apes, when they first came out, I saw $250 for an NFT, and I was like, "Oh my God, I would never pay that much for an NFT." And
of
little
course, did they know.
Well, whenever you're the first, you're gonna be the first of a trend. It's usually new and groundbreaking, and so I think if they knew that it was going to be millions of dollars, they would have charged more. So as a result, Bored Apes have now kind of created a monster for other projects out there because everybody tried to duplicate Bored Apes and they failed. I mean, even our favorite one, Neighborhood Clays or Eternal Clays, they're kind of Bored Apes.
Yeah, they were. And, down the road, those could turn into something interesting, especially if Doug keeps going the direction he's going. Or it could go the other way with if you follow his Twitter, because he's kind of going back the way that got him in trouble the first time.
Yeah.
So, you never know what those are going to end up with, but there's people on the other side of that, right? Instead of investing $3,000-$4,000 and coming out with millions, they've invested, and you know how I use that term. They've put money in at a level of $150,000, $200,000, and they're sitting on $16,000 right now. And you have the mix of those two. You have somebody super passionate over here because they've made a ton of money, and you have someone on the other side super passionate, but in the butthurt way, because they've gone from $200,000 to $16,000. So when you take these two paradigms and you put them together like that, it's like you get this. I picture like a planet forming in the universe.
Well,
this swirl of mess.
You're describing degenerates again, degens,
right?
Who come in the project just to make money, and really, if you've spent all this money and you're butthurt about it, it's because you were just planning to make money on it. You're planning to speculate. So in that case, they're just treating it as like a horse race. It's gambling at that point. Okay, fine. So that's the thing. Now, people did this. I'm going to use a term that you hate. People did this with Star Wars action figures.
Oh my God, we made it 4 shows without it, and here it comes.
So, especially when the episode 1, 2, and 3 came out in the 90s, people, the first action figures that they did, people were buying up in droves. I was one of them. Okay. And so they bought them up because they figured, well, the old ones were worth a lot right now. These new ones are going to be worth more. Guess what? They're not. So the old ones actually went up in value at the time in the 90s. And right now, the old ones, they aren't. So that's kind of the problem there is it was really just an opportunity for obvious. Oh no. So it was really an opportunity. Producer. So the kids that watched the movies, they certainly liked to get the action figures, but it was the adults buying most of them. So great, you have a bunch of people that were speculating on toys. That's what they're doing with NFTs right now, except the amounts are bigger.
That's very true. And a lot of people are butthurt right now because of that. The NFT values across the board, not just in one particular project, but across the board, are way, way down. And that does cause the butthurt. And with the butthurt problem, there's one thing that you can do to avoid butthurt, and that's go to nerdnode.io. Nerdnode.io will take the butthurt out of running your nodes. One simple fee, $25 per node. They will get it set up personally with a human being that'll walk you through the process. And at that point, you just can relax. Let them handle it all. They'll do it all behind the scenes. If you have questions, you can go straight to their Discord, talk to them about it. But that way, you're taken care of. They have a guarantee. If that node goes down and it's their fault, they'll still make sure you get your distribution. That doesn't apply, though, if the company that is providing the node goes down. There's no guarantee there. Either way, go to nerdnode.io, put your nodes with them, and let the butthurt melt away.
Good. What were we talking about before that?
Well, so
Star
Wars action figures. Yes.
And so the point is, people are speculating. Most of the people in NFT, in the NFT arena right now, are speculating. Okay, and they're getting butthurt when their speculations fail. Cry me a fucking river.
So that speculation is something that we should probably talk about as it relates to the mentality of these companies who are providing these projects. So you have these
Are
companies,
the
and
companies encouraging this?
well, so that's what I want to talk about a little bit. So you have traditional companies that are trying to break into this new place, this new area, this new way of doing business in the crypto sphere. And they call that Web3, right? So you and I have bickered about the definition of Web3 and your stupid ass spectrum argument, which I still think is horseshit. But regardless of what that definition is, you have a Web 2 mentality, a traditional company mentality that's trying to succeed in Web 3. And that's going to create two big problems right off the bat. Number one, there's a problem with transparency, which is what we've been addressing the last few shows on here. What level of transparency Web 2 companies are used to is not the same level of transparency a Web 3 company is designed by and expected from the community. All right. There's different expectations about a Web 2 company from the community than there is
designing.
yeah, I'm fucking up the way I wanted to put that. So that mentality shift from the community side is completely different than the shift in the corporate side. And that's creating friction.
Can we back up just a little bit first and describe the difference between Web 2 and Web 3? Well, how about I do this?
Yeah,
how
give
about
your
I do
definition.
So let's just start with Web 1. Web 1 is HTML pages. It was basically just HTML pages. You could store some cookies, and the cookies would basically retain information between sessions. When you were on a website, it might remember your news preferences or something like that. Web 2 is when you add security to it, like banking security. So bank websites started becoming a thing when Web 2 got popular. You couldn't really have that before because people could just hack your cookie, and there's some easy ways to do it. Cookies are fairly secure, but they can be hacked. And at that time, they were likely a lot more hackable. Web 3 is, okay, well, we have the cookies, we have the security. Now we're going to add the cryptographic, we're going to add a blockchain into it. And so now if you had a blockchain wallet associated, if you had one associated with your browser in some way, you could then log on to the site using your blockchain wallet as the security instead of the security provided by the website, which is Web 2. So now the Web 3 websites are no longer providing their own security. They're just doing the blockchain stuff. There's not a lot of Web 3 stuff out there, but there is some projects. I think what was Black Eye Galaxy and Star Atlas, and there's a number there where you pretty much have to have your wallet attached in order to get into your account. Actually, there's a number of them. OpenSea, of course, is another Web 3 application. As long as you have a wallet that you can associate with a crypto wallet, you can use the site. So that's the difference. However, some sites are crypto project focused, but they don't have a wallet that you control associated with it. They have a wallet that they control associated with it, which means it's more like Web 2 security. Again, when you log on to your bank with Web 2 security, your bank keeps track of all the security. Gala Games, which we like to talk about, has Web 2 security. They're managing everything. They're managing a crypto wallet for you, but you got to go through their passwords and their security system in order to do it. There you go. You can continue.
So yeah, that was good. So you have this mentality, and there's the Web 2 mentality, which is your traditional company, and they are trying to get as much of that Web 2 mentality that they're comfortable with, and they're trying to stuff it in this box of Web 3, and a lot of those moving parts are not compatible. And that mentality, I think, is one of the big reasons that there's a lack of adoption. I think that's one reason why they're not as maybe successful as they could be, because they keep trying to fit their old traditional company models into this Web3 model.
Well,
They
they
don't.
did that with Web 2 also, because
Mhm.
Web 2, when it first came out, um, if you didn't have a bank website, they still wanted to have some element of security on there, and so the Web 1 sites would try to look like Web 2, and of course they weren't. But there's a transition period, and I think it's easier with the current technology to do Web 2 stuff. It's harder to do to work with a new fairly loosely defined standard. Web3 has some standards about it, but there's still some play in there. So it's like, okay, can you claim you're a Web3 site? Sorta. Um, that that's again. Give it a couple of years. Wait for the Web3 standards to really suss out. You've got to have this, and this to 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 call it that, and then it'll be fine. It's just technology needs to mature.
Well, and the problem is that there's a problem with decentralization because there's not a central authority deciding per se what decentralized means, what Web3 means. You're going to have that being subjective to whoever's trying to explain it. We could have one definition for it. You could go out there and scroll through Twitter and find 10 or 12 other people who have completely different definitions for what all that means. So I think the whole aspect of this is causing a lot of friction between those. And I absolutely hate when people try and define and say, yeah, we're a Web3 company. No, you're not.
So
Even if you take,
is this really a catchphrase that people are using to validate themselves or something that you hear a
well,
lot?
I don't know about validate themselves,
Sounds like
but it's a
sounds
hot
like a
marketing
marketing
buzzword.
sounds
Yeah.
like a marketing term. It's just one of the many things they throw on top.
And I would like to see a lot of these projects who talk the buzzwords of Web3 and decentralized. I would like to see something that we can at least point to that's actually Web3 or actually decentralized. And using that term so loosely, because you and I have argued like crazy about that on Faz Radio here. And you could loosely say right now that the Kraft Cheese Company is decentralized because you can find a reason to say somebody isn't controlling this part of the
Oh
process.
my God. Okay, so yeah, people do that all the time. What about low sugar, no sugar, no sugar added? Diet, whatever. There's all these. This is something that should be painfully important. Regular everyday products. Here, I should be probably bigger, right? There we go. Regular everyday products have this all the time. You got to read through all their bullshit marketing. They're like, we've got the lowest sugar of every cereal out there, and you go and look at it, and there's like 16 grams of sugar for one spoonful or something. And it's you do your research, and there's always a caveat. There's always some sort of little marketing thing they put in there. You're like, well, the way that they said it, I guess it's right. Great, crypto's doing this too. They've come up with their own catchphrases and diet and no sugar added kind of shit. Organic, that one's really fun because USDA organic is different than other definitions of organic, but then USDA organic is almost pointless, the way that they set it up. So okay, you want to start arguing about Web 2 and Web 3 and that we're a Web 3, maybe the very fact that a wallet is hosted is good enough. Where's a standards organization to stop this? That's what I mean by these technologies need to mature. So in a few years, that's when, well, governments do that. Governments decide what these standards are, and they say this is organic, this is Web 3. When people refuse to get along themselves, that's all.
So who should be the authority on setting those standards? Is that the people? Is that the government? Is that the project themselves? Maybe that's part of the white paper or the FAQ. setting those definitions of what they define Web3
Well,
as, what they define decentralized
if you want to
as.
talk about crypto as being decentralized, then I would say nobody can. It would have to be a decentralized organization that would have to come up with that. So maybe a DAO could come up with that.
But that would be the almighty crypto DAO, who then could be pointed to as being centralized. You see there's chicken and the egg here with everything, every road we go down. It's
so
tough.
What I'm saying as far as having an organization means that it's not going to be a government, and people can choose which organizations they agree with. If you had, just like I think we said this before, people like to look to consumer reports to determine whether a product is good or bad. But there's competitors out there. Consumer Reports just happens to be the most well-known one. So they're kind of the leading authority in a way. The same thing would happen with any decentralized standards. If you had a decentralized organization that everyone accepted as pretty good, there you go. That would be where the standard, they'd simply put out standards and then people would just agree to go by them. Hopefully it would be one that's chosen in a decentralized way. I think that organization has yet to be created yet. It does not exist yet. And it's going to take a lot of creativity to make an organization like that. And make I think if people who are able to join the organization and in a decentralized way and be able to vote for this organization in a decentralized way, maybe you might get somewhere. But it's until that happens, until an organizing factor comes about, no, it's not going to happen. The Web3 standard will always be something that you bitch about.
Well, so if you were to, we have a definition of what Web 2 is, and that's pretty much accepted. And if you can come up with a list of things, and this is what I was going to suggest our next topic, to a way to attack the topic with the Faz standard, is we know the definition of a Web 2 or traditional company. And we could, if we had 10 metrics for what a traditional company stands for, and their business practices and their security and how things are conducted and how things are sold and who the regulators of that are, we can take and we can put at least a score on them for that to begin with. And if they don't fit any of those metrics, it could possibly be headed towards that Web3 side. I thought maybe attacking it from that angle might be a better way to start, rather than bickering about, what of these metrics that we have here are actually metrics that are defined as a Web3 or decentralized entity. What do you think?
Okay. Sounds good. Want to start us out?
Well, I mean, going through all of that, so let's use your example that you talked about a few minutes ago with the login process. Even if you have a MetaMask wallet, you can also have a centralized Web2 login. Meaning, I can, if I connect my wallet and I can't transact on that platform without my wallet, I would call that Web3 enabled. As far as
you would call it Web3 enabled because you call it Web3 enabled simply because it has one technology feature of what's considered Web3 right now, right?
Right, because with Gala Games, right, I don't need my MetaMask wallet to log in, but I can use MetaMask to access what's in my wallet. So that is a very small part. It's primarily that traditional side with a little tiny bit of the Web3 ability sprinkled in.
Well, okay, so you just kind of made your own point, which is if they can log in a Web3 way, that it is Web3. Now, they could say that they're Web3 enabled because you do control the wallet.
No, I didn't say they can log in Web3. There was early testing where you could, I guess, connect your MetaMask to Gala, but then you couldn't go back to the account that you had created with them. Once you switched over to the MetaMask login, you were kind of
So
stuck.
what Gala Games is essentially, or what their website is they're a wallet provider that's not MetaMask. They're a browser based wallet provider. You can they do all the things on the Gala Games website that MetaMask does. It's just server based, where actually I don't think MetaMask is. MetaMask, I believe, is client side, and Gala Games is server side. I'm not sure. I don't have enough information to know if Gala Games can actually figure out your passphrase to the wallet. I would suggest that they don't know it. However, if you do use their wallet, their server-based wallet, they have additional passwords that you'd have to type in order to get money out of the wallet. So if anything, they're like MetaMask, but just a little bit more secure, and it's server-based. So in that sense, is a server-based crypto wallet Web3? I'd say possibly so, because you do have the keys to it, and you can go reconstitute it on MetaMask. It's gets into those marketing terms. I think they could probably get away with saying it, but you'd be like, hey, that doesn't feel right. It's like having a no sugar added ice cream with 12 grams of sugar, finding out that most of the sugar comes from the milk. And it's like, well, it's not sugar free.
There's not granules in it, but there's still sugar.
Well, that's the thing about sugar free. What does sugar free mean? That no sugar was added? Because now they have no sugar added. That's sugar free. When I was a kid, sugar free was something that nobody put sugar in. But of course, there's natural sugar in there. And now no sugar added was okay. It's not sugar free, but we didn't add any sugar either.
Yeah,
So I think Gala has a way to claim that they're Web3, but in a more marketing term way.
I've stopped using the term Web3 gaming. I've been using just blockchain gaming, because there's no doubt they're using a blockchain for recording a lot of their stuff. So I'm okay. My own definition wise, I'm okay calling them a blockchain gaming company, but I'm not ready to give them that Web3 title yet. There's others that are out there. It's not just Gala.
Who are you to give them that title?
I am a contributor to the Faz standard, which will help set those metrics going forward, and hopefully they're adopted. I know Nate's got his Blockham's Razor, which will be another tool that will fold right into the Faz standard as far as giving tools to people to assess these their favorite coin, their favorite game, their favorite NFT project. And all of these together, I think, will give us a really good sense of what that is. The last part of this discussion that I wanted to pick your brain on, because I thought you might have a very interesting take on this. What about the other side of that? What about the mentality of the Web3 people? Are they demanding too much by saying, okay, it's got to be all open source, everything Web3 has to be open source, that it has to be completely trustless, and it has to be completely permissionless?
Well, the concept
is that a reasonable expectation to have?
Well, if I get this correctly, the concept of Web3 is that no company is controlling things, and that all this security is decentralized, or not just security. Everything about a project, or a lot of things, are decentralized. In that sense, if something's decentralized, you can't have private code. You'd have to have open source, because this decentralized infrastructure would have to pull code from somewhere. That's okay. You can make very highly secure code from open source code, because it's the keys that matter. Now, of course, figuring out how to provide secret keys in a decentralized way is going to require some sort of centralization to hold the keys, unless those keys are automatically generated and no one is ever able to see them. Whatever the case is, yes, if you're going to have something Web3, you're going to have it done in a decentralized fashion, which includes open source and all sorts of open things about the project. I don't think that there's any completely decentralized projects out there yet in the absolute sense of the word.
Right. And that's what I'm asking. Is it so because of that, you think it's unreasonable for the community to expect all three of those metrics of completely Web3, completely decentralized? Is that fair?
How informed is the fucking community? Because my understanding is that there are a bunch of degens right now, and there's some smart people in them. Sure, some elements of the community can certainly have some right to demand things, but again, who are we talking about here? How intelligent is this community? If you're just talking about just general members of the community, I'm not sure if any projects communities are organized enough to be in a position to demand anything. I mean, are we talking unions here? Because there now you can start demanding things.
Well, isn't a DAO a form of a union? It's kind of a upgraded 2023 version of a union. No?
Well, my understanding of a union is that it's a company that has a lot, that is designed to have a lot of pull to represent other people, and so they can make deals where the individuals cannot.
That is what a DAO does, and they raise money instead of union fees. They're buying DAO tokens, and they have a group of people who are gamers, let's say, like a guild type thing.
Maybe so.
And they're banding together to try and get a better deal with a gaming company.
I'm sure there's I'm sure there's other entities out there where people band together. I mean, religion is one of them. So, is it a form of religion? Yeah, you could say it's religion. It's a union. It's a syndicate. Syndicates are very anarchical in their design, but of course they all fall into centralized patterns after a while. I think, again, crypto wants to be decentralized, but it's going to be a long time before we see it. And then when it does, I think it might just catch on. But I'm wondering how quickly that the crypto Google will come into focus. Maybe about 10 years, 15 years. That might be too small, short of time.
So that dovetails into something I do want to pause. Like we're having a really good discussion on this, but you mentioned Google. I'm pretty sure it was Microsoft that I read it, that they're gonna put OpenGPT, the AI engine. They're gonna introduce that into their search engine. So it'll be kind of an open AI sort of decentralized-ish kind of search engine. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing this early, or do you think it needs development yet?
Okay, so we're talking about different technology altogether. But okay, back in the early days of a telephone, you didn't have numbers that you dialed. You simply call the operator and ask you to connect you to Mr. Jones or Mrs. Smith or something like that. Then after a while, it became automated because it was just too much for individual humans to do, and a lot of people on the phones, and so you start typing in your numbers. Google right now, you have to kind of type things in, but you don't know what to ask for. And what you really want, maybe I should have used the library. When you go to the library, you can go up to the librarian and you can say, hey, I'm thinking of a book. I don't know the name and I don't know the subject, but I know it has to do with this. And the librarian with her knowledge can sit there and go, I know exactly what you're talking about. And maybe pop up 3 or 4 books. With Google, you can't do that. You can't just say, well, I mean, you better know some words that are in the document or you're screwed. But so having an AI that you can quiz to find out the information, that's a good idea. So you could say, hey, I'm looking for a document. I don't know what it is, but it was made in 1984 and it had to do with, I don't know, bottle caps. and the AI could question you long enough, to figure out, okay, are these older bottle caps or younger bottle caps? And eventually, we call those like wizards in older applications and older help files and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
I remember those.
so AI would be a really advanced wizard that can relate a lot of things. I think that's good because right now there is not enough humans out there with knowledge of the entire internet to be useful. So AI in that case isn't taking anyone's jobs. I know what you're worried about with AI. With AI art and AI music, people are worried that art and music will you could start generating hundreds of thousands of pieces of art and music every month and put all artists out of business. That's kind of another story, but I don't have I mean, that's a kind of another subject, but I have no problems whatsoever with AI replacing Google. I want to tell Google, just go fucking find this, and then it finds it. In fact, Alexa is a very rudimentary version of that right there. You're just like, Alexa, just play me some music from this band. What about their third record? I forgot the name. Done. To do that manually yourself, you'd have to get on Google, find the band, list all their records. Oh, I found the name. Then go to YouTube, do this, do that. When you just want to toss something off and just have somebody solve it for you.
You just showed your age there by talking about records.
Oh, I said records.
Yeah. Yeah, we're old fucks. So I do think that is a very good idea. The problem is the reliance, right? We've seen Google basically take over our lives. At work, I tell the young people, they'll be like, "Oh, how do I do this?" I'm like, "Hey, go talk to your best friend Google." Because Google will tell you whatever it is. If you can even be fairly vague with it, and if you hit the next button long enough, you'll find your answer. With AI, it'll take that away. It'll allow the voice in there, but then you have to worry about what that AI base is learning from, because that in itself is going to determine the type of result that you get.
Okay, so that sounds like you're talking about an AI training standard, which I don't think exists yet, but soon they will, because it's one thing to have an AI that can help you. It's another thing to know how much the AI should actually know. I mean, when you go to the ice cream store, the ice cream shop to buy an ice cream, you really don't want the person serving you ice cream to know your entire credit history. So that's obviously information that human does not need to know. So I
Right?
think all the need to know, I think a certification on what an AI needs to know will make that AI a lot more useful. And so if they can certify, I don't know, maybe you want to make some guitar music, and you could start saying, well, I would like you to put together an AI that has knowledge of these composers, which are of course all dead, and and if I want to add knowledge of this composer, I'll have to pay 1 cent royalty to this guy who's alive and this other guy who's alive. It's a way to make money. So I can certainly see standards coming in there when you start putting together how smart your AI is. And once you do that, you pick those 14 things you want. Then it makes an AI with just the right amount of smarts that you need. But it's going to take an AI to walk you through the process.
So you have an AI that'll teach you how to use the AI. So you have Clippy teaching you how to use Super Clippy.
Well, the AI that helps you put together a proper AI will just know about how to put one together, but it'll be very conversant and be able to understand your strange regional dialect and your weird aphorisms and stuff like that.
Interesting, definitely interesting. We are at the 1 hour mark. Tonight's show, we have people busy tonight. We don't have many viewers on, but do the viewers that are there have anything they want to talk about here tonight? Because we wanted to hit that community. We wanted to hit Web 2 versus Web 3. And I really wanted to dig into that community thing. And I think we did a really good idea with community expectations and both sides of those.
Crickets. Where's my cricket noise maker there?
Yeah, you need one of those little podcast things. What are they called? The
Sound files.
soundboard. There we go.
No, you could do it right here in StreamYard. I just don't have.
Where? I didn't poke those buttons. We got to do that.
Let's see. It's this button when I press things like that.
I can't hear it though.
Can't.
No, I can't hear it.
Well, then I wouldn't play that for you. So in the little background music thing where you can add music and you can just make it a little clip of crickets or whatever.
We need to get a large picture overlay of Donald Trump with the wrong thing on there, and then get the voice on there, and I can push that button when you're wrong.
So all memes will be approved by Faz. All right, are we done?
I think we're done.
And we didn't even have a Faz story time right here either.
No, we've got to set that up, and we got to start recording those. I got so wrapped up in tonight's discussion, I didn't keep along with the chapters tonight for the first time in about 4 weeks. So chapters will be done tomorrow.
Okay. On that note, we're going to end this one. Thank you guys for coming by. And we will see you again next time on Faz Radio.
Woo!
Where's my button? Here's my button. We have an outro. But first, I got to find... Nope, that's the background.
Oh, my goodness. You've done this 109 times.
Let's mute the Titan. He is now muted. Wait, Titan. We have our pre-recorded outro to do. Can you say your thing so that people will know?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, subscribe, and throw some comments below. That helps us, which in turn helps us provide you with much, much better content every week. Thanks for being a listener. Thanks for supporting the channel.
And thanks for sitting through our pre-recorded outro.